We've done location-specific videos that are specific to Wellington, and we're showing entire routes between different suburbs and the CBD and how to travel back from the CBD to those suburbs. You follow the road rules and you know what you're doing. That cycling isn't as hard as people might expect. Then we can cut to a forward camera and show kind of obstacles and stuff that you might face when you're on your commutes. And then we used a third camera down the bottom there to show some of the stuff that you wouldn't normally get to see if you were travelling by car. So it's stuff that you get to experience in the city when you're cycling that kind of makes cycling more fun and more enjoyable. So there's 17 videos in total on the website covering 9 different suburbs, and you should definitely check them out and go and find us on Facebook as well.
Establish the value of the transit network here, and specifically model and evaluate the impacts of changing aspects of the transit concepts. The methods we used were a blend of econometric tools along with existing New Zealand household transit survey data and a lot of data that we got from Sean Audane here at WCC. We went through and we modeled how long it would take to get by car or motorcycle, bicycle, pedestrian, or bus for each of our 1,000 people from their place of residence to their place of work. More striking was when you get into Wellington and Hutt City, every additional minute you are away from Cuba Mall via public transportation subtracts $6,700 in value from a house purchase.
Wellington City Council wants to create a green network plan, and they've asked me to do some ground research so when they go to set about designing that plan, they can take some of this into consideration. Wellington is actually quite a green place. It's got the town belt around it, and what is actually existing inside that city centre that can help animals and plants move through the city. Probably going to focus on birds in an urban setting because they're mobile, they can hop from patch to patch. You don't need continuous corridors, we don't have mammals which need to make tunnels for under roads and such. A more permeable city so there can be movement for those birds right across. This shows where you're really lacking any sort of possibility. For each of those holes I mapped in greater detail what's there, are there any trees, what are the patches, and then had a look what's going on, and then the council can take this information.
The underlying problem that we were really looking at is that, everyone loves plants, and we all know that community greening is a good thing to do. But despite that, not enough people do it, and we've got a situation at the moment where some of the volunteer groups aren't getting enough volunteers in, so we want to look at some ways of trying to get more people engaged in it. Planting evenings were great. We had 18% of the 113 households we invited and 4 planting sites opted out. But of the people who did want to participate, about a third of the people came along to a planting evening. And people said when they came that it was a great idea, and they enjoyed it, and we had people, neighbours, meeting each other. We had people who had never been into the reserve that was right by the house. Things we're not really sure about is whether the Facebook thing worked. We didn't have very many people join the Facebook groups that we set up, but we know that some people did visit those group pages and then didn't join it. But perhaps it is still something worth investigating, considering we did have other people using social media for their own purposes. Something else that we'll be monitoring is the health of the plants long term.
Was to document and digitise first and second order streams around central Wellington, which is those flowing directly to the sea and their major tributaries. A lot of literature review and archival research. I went down and met with the cartographers at the Turnbull Library, and we went all the way back to the 1840s, so pre-pipe network, and used a lot of that information to come up with a historical map of where streams had been before the pipes, and then we kind of cross-referenced that against the stormwater network, found gaps, and used that to create a network of estimated stream locations. So We used that as the basis for ground truthing. We were going to go out and I'd take a GPS on site and literally walk the length of these streams, large number of waterways that we've come across, and now we have a pretty good indication of where most of them are.
We had 5 days of surveying, 2 full days on the weekend where we had about 150 riders each day, 380 responses from our survey, and we asked them things like, hey, where are you from? How often do you come to Macropeak? How long are you here for? When you're at Macropeak and in Karori, what are you doing with your money? There was over 10 businesses who said there was a proportion of theirs. Things like the dairy right outside, right at the top of South Karori Road, I think they had about 60% of their business was just mountain bikers. And taking an average of businesses that answered they had mountain bikers coming in, I think it was about 15% on average. I think over 3/4 said Macropeak has a positive effect on our profitability. No one said it had a negative effect.
All of them except the bottom one are all rated for their office interiors. 1 4, the rest 5 stars. 5 stars representing New Zealand leadership, so it's very good. The Stevenson and Turner Design Studios is a 6-star interiors office fit out, 6 stars representing world leadership, so incredibly good. BNZ Harbour Quays also has a 6-star interior rating, and 1 Featherston Street has a 4-star rating for the fit out, that is for the IRD. They're all developed at the beginning to, excluding the Vogel Integrated Campus, for achieving a 5-star rating. They really wanted to get in there, and it was a big push from the developers to create this Green Star high quality space for their clients. That seems to be the way to go with all large office buildings.